On this episode, there's no their court. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show, and we're talking about their court.
We're basically not talking about anything then.
Yeah, we're talking about nothing then. So, no, it's true. We say it all the time over here at Richter. And you know, there's this whole thing where somebody says the ball is in their court.
Don't get me started, Rob.
Yeah, it is draining. And we've talked about it for years and years and years. It's been Richter culture since day one, essentially. We've always had this idea where, you know how agencies or other companies, I mean, you can get into creative where you're trying to, let's say, get a contract signed, right? And you're dealing with a major company. And this can actually fall into creative, so the production creative folks. I mean, we run an agency here, and so you have the creative production folks that may say, like, oh, the ball's in the client's court. Or you may, on the sales side, say, well, it's in our client's court. Well, they haven't signed off yet. It's in the client's court. I'm waiting for the client. And so here at Richter, we've always subscribed to the idea that there's no their court. There's just your court. There's only one court, you know, and the ball never leaves your hands. There's no the ball is in their hands. There's just your court and the ball never leaves your hands.
It's very zen.
Yeah, very zen. Very zen. But you know, it grants, I guess, causation to you entirely, right? So we've always adopted the idea that you are always cause, and it's always your court to control and your ball to control. And if you look at it from that viewpoint, you just kind of remove their court altogether, and you remove the idea of the ball being in their court. It just leaves you with one option. You have to run point. You have to control everything, and you have to cause everything. And that means, you know, you're taking extreme ownership for your sale. You know, and
if there's any of their court at all, take it off your lineup. You may as well, if there's any their court, and it's not to be all tough about it.
No.
It's just the point of view of, if it's in their court, then you are fully relying on somebody else to do something and to pay you, to exchange with you, to get something done, which is fine. We are in a world where other people have to do things. But if you think that way and you're in sales, then that you are totally powerless immediately. As soon as you say it's in their court, you may as well remove it from your lineup, remove it from your mind, and move on until they happen to randomly call you whenever they've decided to. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, because if you subscribe to the idea of cause and effect, you have cause and effect, right? And we know this concept. Most people know this concept out there, cause and effect. And you are putting yourself at effect. You are putting yourself at effect on the sales cycle, and it's best not to. It's best to stay at cause in the cycle. And this isn't to be like, you know, some psycho that's just control oriented all the time. It's just running really tight control and tight point on every single sale. And if you subscribe to the idea that there's their court and the ball is in their court, then you are at effect and waiting on cycles. And it's just not an effective strategy. The only reason I'm saying it, and the only reason we've done it, is because it's not an effective strategy. You always want to subscribe to the idea that it's only your court, you're holding the ball, and then from there you start solving problems from that viewpoint. So when you're working on your lineup or you're working on anything, you're no longer acknowledging the idea that there's their court or their ball or it's their move or whatever. It's always just your move, which really changes the game in terms of how you sell. And you start looking at it going, okay, well, if there's no their court, no their ball, and I have it, and I have every next move is my move, well, then what do? You know, and then you write it down and you go, okay, well, even if you feel stuck on a cycle, you then start problem solving. You go, well, it's not their move, it's not their ball, so what do I have to do? Even if it is their move, it's still your move that you have to figure out how to make that move happen.
And the whole point of this is not to say, like, it's not to then you should run roughshod over people.
No.
The point is, it's a viewpoint, and the alternative viewpoint is just disaster, or it's just nothing. There's nothing valuable about a different viewpoint.
Or too slow, or too molassesy, right. It puts you on your heels. The other viewpoint, I mean, people have done it. We've worked with agencies. Yeah. Sometimes we sell through other agencies and things like that.
It's in the client's court.
And it's in the client's court, and they haven't got back to us yet, or they haven't said. And we just don't run at that pace.
Yeah.
And you look at the time, the runway to close a deal or get a sales cycle, and I would wager that 95% of the time we're going to get it done faster than other people we've dealt with.
Yeah, and when you think it's in their court, the thing is, and and again, it's not to run roughshod. It's to, okay, what's my next play?
Yeah.
What's my next play? Okay, good. I understand that they feel a certain way, and I'm not going to sit here and ruffle people's feathers so much that they don't want to do business with me. Fine. So be artistic, be clever, be like intelligent, and make your next play. Michael Jordan of the Chicago Bulls, probably the greatest player in the history of the NBA. He probably never thought, even when he was traveling around the United States going to other people's courts, he probably never thought he was on somebody else's court. The greatest hockey players are not ever on somebody else's ice. They're not. They're on their own ice.
100%.
Yeah.
It's your court. It's your stage. It's your ice. It's your arena. And when this is really just a frame of mind. This is just This is really just a mindset into your sort of MO or modus operandi of your day, and you start looking at how you operate, and this simple little shift in your mindset will be a big game changer in terms of how you go about getting sales. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm waiting on the client, well, they haven't got back to me yet, or well, this and that, or even from if you're even an entrepreneur or deal with a creative team or a production team of any capacity, you have to get them to knock it off as well, not just on sales, but company wide. As an entrepreneur, if you have production or creative folks at all, creative folks will do it as well. They say ball's in their court. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, keep moving it along. Otherwise, a creative project could take 8 months where it should have taken 2, or it should have taken, 60 or 45. It just depends. But point is, changing the mindset can shorten the runway on getting something done dramatically.
Because here's what it does in sales, right? I mean, this is a super simple example. Here's a couple super simple examples. So you have a prospect says back to you, love your stuff. We'll let you know when we're ready to discuss,
right,
to do, to whatever. We'll let you know. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Now, if you accept that, you may as well remove them from your universe completely and just put it way far away. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. But to do something else instead, you can number one, present them with a new idea, present them with more material, present them with case studies, with testimonials. You can go to another person in their company. They might not be the decision maker. They might there's all sorts of different angles that you have to keep on your toes, keep pivoting, keep putting new material out there, because it's your mission. Their mission is your mission. Everything about it. So that's real simple. Now, if you have it on a via. Like I have a cycle that I'm closing right now. It's going to close this week, where we have a great agency that we're working with, and they have clients. Mm-hmm. And so this person just wrote me and said, we're very close. We're just making sure they like our storyline, and then we're ready to get started. We'll let you know, right? And that's great. And the challenge is I'm working on a slight via, and that's fine. I'm gonna go back to her with project timelines. What project timeline do you need? Because our queue is very full, our production schedule is very tight. Of course, we're going to service you and we're going to meet your deadlines, right? That's one play. Another play is, visual style. Has there been any feedback on visual style? And put more material in front of her that she can then give that client to get them to go, oh, obviously we want this, right? It's already happening. It's already done. But my mindset has got to be always, no matter what vias and no matter who I'm working with, it's me. Or it's
right,
not.
and if you take that example and you look at, if you go the other route, if you go, well, the ball's in their court, or you're waiting on things, then you literally stop creating on the cycle, right? You stop, so the forward motion on the cycle, and you sort of like wait for them to get back to you. Next thing you know, you kind of forget about it, and it like nothing's really happening because you've mentally made the choice that the ball's in their court, something needs to happen on their side before you react or take action. Mm-hmm. But if you remove that altogether and you say there's no ball, there's no their court, there's none of that, there's only my next move, even though they're saying, yep, we'll let you know, we'll get back to you, you're still problem solving and saying, good, what's next?
Yep.
Good, what's next? What's the next move? What's the next action? Because it's my move again, my move again, my move again, and you keep solving that problem. And like Ben said, it's not to be pushy, it's not to like steamroll anybody, but the point is this is the only really successful modus operandi that you can take on your cycle, and it just means you're now problem solving, even if they sort of stick to you and say, well, we're waiting on this or we're waiting on that decision, instead of just sort of shelving it and waiting for them to get back, so you take a reactionary approach and you react to what they do, you're still proactively, causatively, solving the problem. And you're going, okay, got it, thanks. And now you're solving that problem. Like, what's next? What's the next thing that's going to move it forward and handle it? Because it's your move, right? Every single move is your move, right? And you take each move through the sales process until it's done.
Feels way better too.
It does. It gives you something to do. And when you build up too many cycles, if you go the other route where there is their court and there's their ball and you're waiting for them to make a move, there will be so many cycles that get stuck or fall through the cracks or just like don't come together because of this thing.
Yeah, Rob goes like this. He can't wait, and a really good salesperson's like this. He can't wait for the objections to come up. He can't wait for the stops and barriers to come up, because they're going to come up. So as soon as they come up, great, and you handle them and you move through and you continue and persist on your given course. None of the, like, if you're not a master salesman, and that's totally fine if you're not, I'm not necessarily, but when you get that email or you get that voicemail that says, hey, thanks so much for your hard work. We so appreciate how much work you put in. At this point, we're waiting on blah, or we're gonna do later, and you sort of die inside a little bit because you're like, I guess that's that. Right? You just like, I guess it's in their court now. And you kind of die a little bit. Well, with this viewpoint, you won't feel that way anymore, because then now you have the opportunity to make your next play.
It's just problem solve. It's just problem solve, and you just go back to problem solving. They say that, and you're like, okay, problem solve,
Right.
And keep working on the next causative move.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're blinking and running out of
Yeah, we
time
are
here. So anyway, hope that helps. We'll have more coming at you soon here. Make sure to subscribe to the show if you haven't already, down there in the right-hand side, or I suppose left-hand side if you're looking at your computer screen there. And we will have more coming soon. Thanks.